everyone. Welcome back to Soccer Showdown. Joe Archino and Martino Puccio here as always. And unfortunately, despair is in the air just about everywhere right now. After Team USA loses 2-1 to Trinidad and Tobago, it will be the first time since 1986 that the U.S. men's national team will not be in the World Cup. And Martino, to be honest, I don't really know where to begin. There's so many different places that we could go here, but quite honestly, how did this happen?
I mean, this happened over the course of time. We even said it last year on one of the episodes I posted on Twitter on how almost every move the past 20 to 30 years was just one step forward, two steps back. Bringing in a guy like Bruce Arena wasn't going to help anyone. There's a massive talent gap. Christian Pulisic is 19, Clint Dempsey's 33. 14 years in between, there's the most talented player of a generation to another. Where's that generation in between? And we're talking about generations. That's a four-year gap in which kids aren't going to be interested in soccer. You talk about it often on how in 2014 you really gravitated towards the sport because
Yes.
USA was playing well. No kid is going to be able to gravitate towards them playing well because they're not going to be there. So now that's a huge problem that they have. And then there's like so many other places to go. But I want to know from your point of view and your perspective as someone who's relatively new to this, what do you think you saw prior to 2014 and now that's so different?
Well, I mean, I think that's the amazing thing is when you look at this thing, how many people wanted to put all the blames on Jurgen Klinsmann? And, I mean, to be honest, you look at the period where Jurgen Klinsmann was in charge at the helm here, that was a very good stretch of play. Team USA was playing very well, whether it was in CONCACAF competitions, winning gold cups. In the World Cup, you saw them playing well. And once he was gone, it was almost like his plan was totally thrown off. And obviously, you have a player like Christian Pulisic. He's got the European experience, an easy star to see, but it just seemed like Bruce Arena just deviated from the track that they were on, and they were going on the right path. I don't still, you and I talk about this a lot. Where is USA ever going to be? Are they ever going to be at the same level as an Italy or an Argentina or a Germany? And I don't know if I'm ever ready to buy that. But this is clearly not the best that Team USA can be. They can be leaps and bounds better.
No, well, leaps and bounds might be a little too generous. I think that might be the thing sometimes that people are thinking. I think we're better than what we showed, but
Yes.
we're not as good as what we may think.
Yes.
And I mean, that showed, like, we were in the group for death in 2014. You had Portugal and Germany in that, and we made it out of there. So that was really good progression, and then people are complaining about, oh, the MLS this and the MLS that. Look, that doesn't matter. All the best players from the best international countries play in Europe. Neymar from Brazil, 5-time World Cup champions. Where does he play, Joe? Oh, he plays in Paris. Where is that located? Oh, that's in Europe. Lionel Messi, where is he from? Argentina, 2-time World Cup champions. Where does he play? Barcelona, Spain. That's in Europe as well. Do you see the trend here? Because we're not sending our best players there. Players like Michael Bradley and Clint Dempsey are going back to the MLS. In the primes of their career, too, where they have a lot of top-flight football left in them, they're not playing in the top-flight leagues. So when they go back into leagues like that, you play worse around worse players. You play down to your competition. You don't play up to it. When you're in leagues like Bundesliga, where Christian Pulisic is playing on really good teams with really good players, you're going to get better. And you know what? That was another thing. His quality was head and shoulders above everyone else. And if a 19-year-old is head and shoulders above 25 to 30-year-olds, that's a problem. Even though you would love having a talented guy like that, it's still an issue.
Well, I want to bring up, kind of building off of that. You talk about Pulisic, and Pulisic has the European experience. He's playing there now, so he's got that technical skill. Andrea Pirlo is a player you and I are very familiar with. Followed him in his illustrious Italian career. Went over to the MLS, did some good things with NYCFC. But one of the things he talked about when he came over here is he said what the MLS doesn't have in technical skill that they clearly have a dominant in Europe, they make up for with speed. So I think clearly if the Team USA is ever going to reach new levels and new heights, it's going to come down to sending them over to Europe and getting the technical skill. Speed is a thing that's an important part of the game. But technical skill is what it comes down to in soccer.
I mean, it's almost in any sport how overrated athletic ability is. If you got a 10-cent head, what does it matter? How many times do we see professional NFL quarterbacks that come in the league and they're great athletes, but they're not smart enough to play the position that they mess up all the time. How many times are we seeing like DeAndre Yedlin's a great example. He's really progressed pretty decently, right? But everyone talks about his speed this and speed that. If you can't cross the ball, you're basically useless, right? Because you're supposed to be creating chances if you're running up and down the wing. We can grab a bunch of guys in America that can run up and down the wing, right? Because we're known for athleticism. But that's not the issue. That's never been the issue with athleticism. It's been about technical decisions with Bruce Arena and just producing quality of talent. Like Michael Bradley's, one of his corner kicks was one of the worst ones I've ever seen. It was just a straight line drive straight up into the air. It looked like it was leaving the Caribbean of the Trinidad. So it was just awful. It was just an awful performance, and it stems from the youth system too.
I want to talk about a couple more points before we end. One of them I think we've seen written a lot about and talked a lot about is there seems to be people who are saying that just this Team USA was just very arrogant. The other day there was people saying, that they just walked into this match expecting to basically win, and then clearly that did not happen. And when you're Team USA, you're always going to get everyone's best shot. Although Trinidad and Tobago didn't have anything to play for in this match, clearly they were going to give it their best. They're playing home here, and people are saying and citing, Team USA just came into this match with the wrong attitude, and certainly attitude is a reflection of who's at the top of the helm there, which reflects Bruce Arena.
Yeah, you know what? That's the funny thing, though. What do they have to be arrogant about?
That's
what
true.
if they've never won anything? You got out of the knockout round and you're happy about that? You play in one of the worst groups in the world in CONCACAF. It's literally, like Colin Cowherd was saying it, he's not that big of a soccer guy. This conference was literally built for them to get to the World Cup. Panama and Honduras got there. And you can't even blame the MLS as well, right? Because the guys who were scoring the game-winning goals for Honduras and Panama, where do they play? They play in the MLS, so you can't even do that, right? So you can't blame the league that the country is like the main league in our country, right? So going in the youth level, who's the next guy that's going to come up, right? Because I'm just sick of it, honestly, and it's amazing because everyone's just like, oh well, if we focused on this sport opposed to other sports, then maybe we would be better than everyone else. No, you wouldn't. Who said that? That's the arrogance that people are talking about, right? And that's just stupid deflection, and it doesn't raise any accountability. And there needs to be more accountability. And the fact that Bruce Arena is still technically the manager / head coach of this team is laughable. That is a disgrace.
I think a lot of people have said he should have resigned after that match ended, and there's just no question about it. Let's go to this next one, because this is a big one. Fox has obviously spent a lot of money to be able to air this next World Cup. They've got a lot invested in it, but Team USA is not there. You talked about at the beginning how the 2014 World Cup may turn me on to the sport. Now I live and breathe it. But what if the next me doesn't get turned on to it because Team USA is not there? How much do you think this will hurt the growth of soccer in this country, or more than anything, hurt Fox's ratings at the fact that Team USA is not there?
You know what? It kills a lot of momentum because you hear the rumors all about 2026 and how that World Cup might be here. You know how important it is to be in almost every single World Cup? Because Qatar is going to be the next World Cup after Russia, if you guys don't know that. But that's going to take place in the winter. It's not going to be in the usual summer due to the heat.
Because it's 5,000 degrees there.
Yeah, it's 5,000. Well, that's a whole nother issue on how many people are dying just to build a city in the desert. Okay, but I mean, just you're killing that because look at all the other leagues around right now with the NFL. There's so much controversy. You see so many people getting turned off to the league. You can gain all those fans. All those fans are leaving one football that can go to another football, and you're losing that. And it's pathetic because Christian Pulisic is the star to have that. And he's not going to be playing until he's 23, 24 in the next World Cup, if they even get there. So, I mean, it's a huge issue for Fox, but it's just a huge issue for the Federation and soccer as a whole in this country, and for men's to say.
Last thing quickly, obviously we've covered a lot of ground, but we haven't touched upon, which I think is the most important thing of all, how does it get better? What does Team USA have to do? What does U.S. Soccer have to do to address this problem? And again, no one right now is asking for a 10-year window where you have to win the World Cup. I think the goal is, how do you get better? How do you make sure that this doesn't happen again?
Well, you know what? It's like almost any great system ever in sports, right? Where do you build up? You build up from within. The New York Yankees, right? They just clinched last night. their greatest players of all time came through their youth system. They developed these guys. Barcelona, for example, the La Masia school where they had Messi come up, Xavi, Iniesta, all these great names. Even Ajax is another great club you can turn to that produced Johan Cruyff, who developed the Barcelona school. So, I mean, I grew up playing soccer in this country, right? I know we're leaps and bounds behind other countries. You could just tell it. There's people who shouldn't be coaching certain players. I mean, and this is just in school. Not even to go with youth academies. I talk to friends and family members that I have on them playing in the youth academies. It costs a couple $1,000s just to play for these academies. Why does it cost so much to do that? When I was playing CYO basketball, it's $100, $200. Go buy yourself a pair of sneakers and get on the court and start playing. With these youth teams, you got to buy the backpacks, you got to buy the warm-up gear and all this. That's the sense of entitlement and arrogance that starts from the youth. You didn't win anything. You didn't earn that. Stop acting like you're a professional. Act like a professional when you get to the pros. Try to develop your fundamentals and try and get better. Because that isn't happening. Everyone just thinks, like, oh, 20, 30 years from now, we got to get to Argentina. Like, we're not even at Belgium's level, and Belgium isn't even going to win the World Cup. So I don't know where all this is coming from. You start up from the ground and build from the top. But you got to cut off the head and then start from there because the guys at the top are not doing a good enough job. So they really got to step back and evaluate once again.
We have thrown a lot at you. It is not an easy time. I think certainly this next World Cup for a lot of people in this country is going to feel very empty. It will still be fun. You still have stars like Messi, Ronaldo in the bunch who are going to be in it. But without Team USA being there, it is a big, sure miss for this country. But that is it for this episode of Soccer Showdown, everyone. As always, Martino Puccio and Joe Archino. We'll see everybody in the next episode.